Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our second class of the day. This is the two-star Grand Prix. It's the pinnacle of the week for the two-star competitors. This is what they have all been aiming towards. We kick off here this morning in the two-star Grand Prix with Miguel Maron Kawagi. Miguel represents Mexico, and his horse is Northern Diamond. This is a 12-year-old Swedish warm blood by Diamant de Revel. And as I say, this is the pinnacle of the competition for the two-star competitors. Comes down now to this line that we had in the five-star winning round, down to the double combination. Unfortunately, that comes down. They then take a related distance down to this skinny fence at fence 5, and then make a right-handed turn. Down to the triple combination. It's then a slight left curve to this oxer with a water tray underneath, then a right curve down to the wall. Beautifully designed fence there. The CP oxer just manages to squeak over the distance of that. Then it's another right-handed turn here down to fence 10 with the cactuses either side. Left-handed then. Down this final line, we have this brown-coloured upright with the bears either side at 11, and then this one with the discs either side at 12. Finally, we have this orange-coloured Cabana Coast oxer to finish. He's going to be a little over the time allowed. It's going to be 75.17 seconds, so he picks up one time penalty and one fence down. So the time allowed is in fact 74 seconds, so Miguel Maron Kawagi picks up 6 penalties, 1 fence down and 2 time penalties to add. We move on to Canada now, to Wesley Newlands, who rides Maestro Van Het Binnenveld. This competition are one that we've seen in the two-star classes for a few of our Major League show jumping legs. Unfortunate to have an early fence down there. Just really heads to the right down the double combination just to save a little bit of time. So Wesley jumped this horse in the two-star Grand Prix at Ottawa for a 19th place finish, and then 5th in a two-star Grand Prix at Traverse City back in July. It's a consistent combination though. They've been in the top 10 13 times together this year so far. Our next competitor represents the USA. This is Emmeline Adamick. And she rides the horse Casino. Casino is a 14-year-old German-bred gelding by Casiro 3. Just a little clip at the skinny fence at fence 5, but that stays up well. Well, she's had a fence down and it looks like she may well be calling it a day here. Just saving Casino for another competition, or in fact, no, we're restarting here. Nicely through the triple there. I think she was just taking a moment to just gather things back together. They're going to be quite a little way over the time allowed. Emmeline doing extremely well to be jumping in these two-star competitions around Mexico. She did extremely well in the North American Youth Championships in the Prix Junior category, placing 5th in the individual final there. Great experience for this young rider to compete here in Monterey, this absolutely iconic venue. It was once home to one of the richest Grand Prix in the world. Down the final line then, stops the clock in 101.77 seconds. So it is going to be quite costly for time. It's going to be 32 in total for Emmeline Adamic. It's going to be elimination for Wesley Newlands and then 6 for Miguel Maron Kawagi, who leads the way at the moment. So we have a little bit of a way to go in this competition, and we're still looking for our first clear. We have 45 coming forward in this two-star Grand Prix. Next up, representing Colombia, will be Ruben Arroyave with Valesca Z. This combination jumped in the two-star Grand Prix last week just to have a fence down and 1 for time, and that put them in 14th place. Unfortunate to have that very early fence as well. Fence 1 goes down. Good to the Cabana Coast upright. Sadly, it's a long way around this course with an early fence down. This combination were also 10th in the two-star Grand Prix at Guadalajara last month. Again, 5 penalties there. But Ruben is a competitor who jumped in the Bolivarian Games in 2017. Rather lightly competing this year just with Valesca Z. Jumping, as I say, in Guadalajara and here in Monterey. Good down the final line, the time is 76.48, so it will be a little over the time allowed, and so it's 3 for time, 4 for jumping. For Ruben Arroyave and Valesca Z, it's a total of 7 penalties. Going to keep them out of a potential jump-off. Antonio Morea comes next then, just nicely over the Cabana Coast upright at fence 2, riding Connecticut. one of our riders for Mexico. Fantastic to see the crowds getting behind the Mexican competitors. He's just inside the top 750 in the Longines World Rankings. Jumped this horse in the two-star 1 meter 40 class last week for a 10th place finish. Also jumped in the two-star Grand Prix last week was Chakalanda. Connecticut is a 12-year-old gelding by Contagos. Looking like we might find this a little tight on time. I'm allowed 74 seconds. Unfortunately, that plank fence just drops as well. But yeah, just a fraction over the time allowed as well. So it's 1 fence down, 2 for time, 6 penalties in total for Antonio Morer. On we go to Simon McCarthy with Andy's Boy Bretonniere. Simon, of course, a rider on Team Helios. He was not on the team, I don't think, last night, but Team Helios finished in 6th place, which is a little uncharacteristic for them. They're still, of course, leading the way in the overall season standings, having had 5 wins, pretty incredibly. He actually jumped this horse in the 5-star 1 meter 45 class last week for 22nd place. Just hearing that the time allowed has been extended to 75 seconds now, so we're going to have a slight adjustment of a couple of those times. Still no clears on the board though, so Simon McCarthy, very experienced competitor. Andy's Boy Bretonniere, this 12-year-old French-bred horse by Tinker's Boy. He won a 5-star 140 class last week with this horse, with a lovely double clear. But it's a new partnership. Horse was ridden by Charlotte Hoeng of Germany and by Christopher Lindenberg of Denmark as well earlier this year. So he is, we're just going to confirm the time actually for you there and just going to confirm his score because, as I say, the time allow has been amended up to 75 seconds. They've just let that out a little bit. And so he's 0.65 of a second over that. Also had a fence down, the plank coming down as well. I think we could see that come down quite a few times in the course of this competition. It's going to be 5 for Simon McCarthy. Back now with another competitor for Colombia. This is Nicolas Gamboa with Interactive Mortgage Queijano. Best score so far is 5. Still looking for a clear, having quite a few time penalties still. This combination are the ones who won our 2-star Grand Prix last week. Great double clear for them there, beating all of their rivals. So already won 2-star Grand Prix win for them, and they're looking for a second. Gives a rattle to that fence, and unfortunately the front rail comes down just a little deep in there. Again, it's a relatively new horse. This is a 9-year-old Westphalian gelding. So far they've been in the top 10 3 times together. One of those being a 3rd place in a 3-star 140 competition at Traverse City in August. But yes, that 2-star Grand Prix win last week was a brilliant performance for them. They are also going to be a little over the time allowed. 78.74 will incur 4 time penalties. So it's going to be 8 for jumping, 4 for time, 3. No, we don't have any clears still, but it's going to be 12 in total for Nicolas Gambeur. Amanda Derbyshire will be next up with Wonder If. Amanda represents Great Britain. She's again a very experienced competitor. Wonder If is owned by the Goshman Sport Horse LLC. It's by 7Z. This is a 10-year-old. 10-year-old British bred horse. Unfortunately, it gets a little close to the B element in the double there, just gets a bit deep. Pace is quite quick coming down to the skinny fence at 5, and so unfortunately that falls as well. It's 2 down so far. She's working on 8. The time's good, it's 73.65, so we know that the time is perfectly achievable. It's going to be 3 fences down though for Amanda Derbyshire and Wonder If. 12 in total for them. They'll slot into 5th place as it stands. On we go to our competitor for Germany now. This is Rupert Winkelmann with Conrad 155. This is a 9-year-old Oldenburg by Cristallo 7. German bred horse. Also previously ridden by Tanamara Makari. Had one very good top 10 finish this year so far. Rupert's on the Crusaders team squad. Ah, what a shame. Just got a little bit steady into that fence. Just could have done with a little bit of a stronger push there to get to the back bar. carefully over the plank, carefully down the final line, 74.45 the time, so it's 1 fence down. That is our best score so far. Rupert Carl Winkelmann heads into the lead. Just 1 fence down, so we're still looking for a clear, and I think we may well get one as this competition progresses. But certainly a very promising performance, and I would think that a good 4 faulting round could well be very valuable. Kenny comes up next with Sangris Boy. Dara, of course, a rider on the Trailblazers team and helped that team to another podium finish, 2 in a row. He helped them to a 2nd place last week and to a 3rd place in last night's competition. Very hotly contested competition run indoors there. Dara, of course, an extremely experienced competitor. He jumped this horse in the 5-star 1m45 class last week for a 6th place finish. It's actually been in the top 10 with this horse in their last 6 competitions together, those being across San Miguel and Monterey. He's got a decent pace up now down in this final line. Of course, very used to getting round within the time allowed. Just 1 fence to go. The time is very good. 74.1 seconds. Dara Kenny gives us our first clear. As the music rings out around the arena, we do now have 1 rider with a clean sheet, and we have something for the other competitors to aim towards as they head hopefully into a jump off. Dara Kenny then leading the way with Sangris Boy. This horse that is getting ever more competitive, as I say, in the top 10 in their last 6 competitions. So we go on then to our representative for Argentina now. This is Francisco Leonforte with Santa Rosa Yalta. This horse is a 10-year-old mare by Berlin, out of a Balu du Rouet mare. He's just inside the top 300 on the FEI jumping under 25 rankings. Rides quite a number of very talented young horses. This, though, is one that he's competing up to 4-star level so far. Had a good 4-star win at Quapex Pan last month. This horse was previously ridden by Nicolas Pizarro earlier this year, and prior to that by Daniel Pedraza Littlewood of Mexico as well. Nicolas Pizarro actually competed this horse in the 5 stars at our Vancouver leg of Major League Show Jumping, being the opening leg. And Francisco's had this horse in the top 10 4 times so far in their partnership together. Oof, gives fence 10 quite the rattle, but it stays in the cups. Just steadies to the plank. And nicely down the final line. It is going to be clear for jumping. It was a lovely round. I think that's going to give him a couple of time penalties. So yes, 2 time penalties for Francisco Leonforte. So he's going to be in second place for now. We do have a way to go though. That still could be a valuable round. We have had 1 clear out of 10, so if we maintain, well, actually out of 11, so if we maintain that kind of rate, we'd have 4 or 5 in our jump off. I think we may see more than that as the competition progresses, but that's the kind of rate that we're looking at so far. Well, from Argentina, we move on then to Mexico, to Luis Alejandro Plasencia Ornate, who rides Beautiful Red. Beautiful Red is a 13-year-old German-bred horse by Casal. Don't forget that following this competition, we'll bring you the 5-star Grand Prix this afternoon. That will kick off at 2:30 local time, so in about 3 hours' time. Another combination here that we've seen jumping successfully in Guadalajara. They've also had a good stint at Spruce Meadows over the summer months as well, jumping in the 5 stars and the 2 stars there. Good down the final line. Again, just a fraction over the time allowed. So with that time allowed now being amended up to 75 seconds, 0.38 will incur them 1 time penalty, and they'll slot into second place for now. Still just 1 clear, 1 with 1 time penalty, 1 with 2 time penalties. So your top 3 for now are Dara Kenny, Luis Alejandro Plasencia Ornate and Francisco Leonforte. Juan Jose Zendejas Salgado, who comes next then with Camilla. This one is a 10-year-old, another German-bred horse, and again represents Mexico. Again, it's a little over the time allowed, 75.46. It's going to be 5 in total for Juan Jose Zendejas Salgado and Camilla. 14th place for them. Or rather, they were the 14th to go. Just and so they, in fact, slot into 7th place in total with their 5 penalties. We have a good few on 5 actually. 4 competitors now finishing on 5 penalties, 1 on 4, and then those with the time penalties, and still just the 1 clear. Keeping with the Mexican theme then, we now go on with Jose Antonio Chedraui Eguia, with good limit. This is a horse that he owns himself. It's a KWPN. A KWPN mare by Spartacus, and the breeding on the dam side goes back to Verdi. This combination had a really good 7th place in the in a 2-star 140 class last week. Also had a really good 8th place in Copex Pan in a 4-star 2-phase competition just last month. And again, they jumped quite extensively at Spruce Meadows over the summer months. Good down the final line, good over the plank. Got to be careful of the time. And how unfortunate. Keeps all the fences up, but it is going to be 2 time penalties with a time of 76.13 for Jose Antonio Chedraui Eguia. Slots into 3rd place as it stands. The time is proving influential here. We have seen the time be amended up to 75 seconds. The course designer just giving them an extra second to get around here, but it's still been pretty influential. Having said that, proved no problem at all for Derek Henney, who remains our only clear. On then to HSB Caracola, who is an 11-year-old horse ridden by Juan Ignacio Walker of Chile. Again, this combination have been jumping in the 2-star classes in and around Mexico over the course of the year so far. Had a good 5th place here in Monterey back in April. Over fences of 1.35 m in height. These are 1.45 in height, in case you are wondering. They did well last week here as well. 16th in a 142-star class, but only picked up 1 time penalty, and then actually just had 1 fence down in a 145 class, and then just 3 for time in another one. So actually 3 very good results, but these are very competitive competitions. Well, really nicely over the fences. The crowd absolutely getting behind this Chilean competitor, Juan Ignacio Walker. But he's going to be over the time allowed once again. 3 time penalties to add, but another fantastic result to add to their record. Plenty of rounds with no fences down now in the last couple of weeks. So it's going to be 3 for time. He'll slot into 5th place for now. Onwards to Brazil now. And our next competitor is Felipe Godinho Marcondes, who rides Isa Fayan. This combination was 2nd in the 2-star Grand Prix last week. Great double clear, of course, to get them that 2nd place finish. They return here to this very same arena and to the same competition, bidding for another place on the podium. They jumped well earlier in the year at Mexico City as well, and also competed in Valkenswaard in the summer in some 4-star classes. Really getting the miles on the clock. This horse was also very successful as a young horse, having podium finishes with Filippo in the 7-year-old classes. Now the horse is a 9-year-old. What a shame, just clipping fence 10 there. Very unluckily. This has been a lovely round. Again, I think the time is going to be quite tight. Yeah, so going to be a couple of time penalties in there as well to add to that one fence down. 6 in total for Filippo Godinho Marcondes. We have another Mexican competitor coming forward now. This is Sofia Larrea Burillo. And Sofia's ride is Zoran. Another combination who jumped in some of the 2-star classes last week. Also jumped at Spruce Meadows once again, and then also jumped at the Nations Cup show at Quapexpan back in March. This horse was also previously ridden by Erin Ballard. And so actually it is really quite a new partnership for Sofia. She took over the reins in Quapexpan. So when the horse jumped at Spruce Meadows, that was with Antonio Morer. Experienced horse for Sofia to take the reins on now. Piloting the horse very well indeed. Just a fraction over the time allowed. It's going to be 2 for time and 2 fences down. 10 in total. That will put her into 13th place at the moment. Still some way to go in this class. Remember, we have 45 on our list to come forward. We still just have one clear. That is going to Dara Kenny at the moment. And he has a bit of a wait now to see if anybody will be joining him in the jump-off. I'm sure we will have somebody coming a little later to join him in the jump-off, but he's still out on his own at the moment. Once again for Mexico then, heading to fence 1 is David Garcia de la Garza with Tintoretto LS. Sadly, that Cabana Coast upright is causing problems once again. That's been a little bit of a bogey fence so far in this competition. And the double also causing a little bit of an issue there. Gives that a good rub. This combination was 3rd in last week's 2-star Grand Prix. Just had 1 down in the jump-off. Unfortunately, they won't be heading into the jump-off again today. It's going to be 13 in total then for David Garcia de la Garza and Tintoretto LS. Just a little bit over the time allowed, so it's just one for time to add for them. Paul O'Shea is next on the list. He rides Sexy Beast. Sexy Beast is one of these fantastic horses that Paul rides, owned by Eye Candy Jumpers. This one is a 9-year-old mare by Cabochon, out of a staccato mare, who is called Stacora. This combination also jumped in the 2-star Grand Prix last week and just had a couple of fences down. Also done well in the 2 stars at Traverse City and at Spruce Meadows as well. Had a really good 4th place finish in a 2-star speed class last week as well. I'm fortunate to just have that one fence down because this horse has all the natural speed needed to do very, very well in the jump off. So it's just going to be 4 penalties. 69.89 is the time on the clock. That is our fastest by a good long way, actually. So Paul O'Shea is by a mile our fastest round so far. Just so unfortunate to have that fence down because that really would have been a great combination for the jump off. As it happens though, he'll slot into 6th place. He's our fastest 4-faulter and I feel he may well stay in that position as the fastest 4. We do, however, have 4 competitors who just pick up a couple of time penalties in front of him. 1 on 1, 2 on 2 and 1 on 3 time penalties. Still 1 clear. Also trying to head into the jump off then is Regina de la Cabada Moreno, who rides Mitras LS. Unfortunately, the Cabana Coast up right there causing problems once more. It's a combination that have done the 2-star Grand Prix both last week and in San Miguel in May as well. Jumped in a couple of 2-star Grand Prix there. Going to be a total of 52 then for Regina de la Cabada Moreno and Mitras LS. Keeping with the Mexican theme once again, we now have Javier Fernandez Gonzalez with Iniesta TN. This horse is a 9-year-old stallion by a stallion called Star Power. This is one that Javier has been riding since September of this year. In San Miguel, they had some very good results. 3 top 10s, a 2nd, a 7th and a 9th. Only dropping 1 pole out of 5 rounds of competition in San Miguel. They also did very well at Guadalajara in September. And prior to that, the horse was ridden by Kars Bonhoff of the Netherlands, who jumped this horse in some 1-star classes around Belgium and France. Six is going to be the total for Javier Fernandez Gonzalez and Iniesta TN then. 6 in total. 1 fence down and a couple for time as well. Takes them into 14th place. And the time remains very influential in this competition. Our next rider will be representing Uruguay. This is Juan Manuel Luzardo Rodriguez with Chapeau. This horse is German bred and is owned by Hermann Sieger. This horse is by Com Il Faut. It's a 12-year-old. Again, this is a fairly new partnership. This is, in fact, the only venue that Juan has competed this horse at. He competed here last week in the 2 stars, had 2 fences down in the 2-star Grand Prix last week. Prior to that, the horse was ridden a couple of times in Guadalajara by Tatiana Keys-Holder Andrews of Mexico, and then competed before that by Nano Healy of Ireland and by Robert Vos of the Netherlands. Robert Vos, of course, well-known developer of young horses to a very high level. Very nice down that final line, a real fraction over the time allowed, actually 7/100ths of a second over the time allowed. And so it's going to be 5 in total. Well, interestingly, our previous horse was called Chapeau. We now have Chapeau PSZ. This one is ridden by Luis Biraben of Argentina. He's a rider on the Crusaders squad. This one is just an 8-year-old. Luis has been riding this horse since February of this year, or riding in competition at least. Horse was with Angelique Russen prior to that. We took the horse to the World Young Horse Championships at Lanarken and in some young horse classes earlier on in their career. But this combination also jumped in the two-star Grand Prix last week, having 2 fences down. Jumped well at Ocala in the summer. And also jumped well at Wellington earlier in the year as well. Very nice round and quite swiftly around there for a very good time. Nothing to add for time. 73.69 is their time, and it's just the 1 fence down. So for Louise Biraben, it's going to be 7th place so far. We don't have too many on 4, just 3 competitors finishing on 4 faults. As we move on to another Brazilian competitor, this is François Esteves da Silva. And he rides the horse Crunchy Nut 15. Again, this is a relatively recent partnership, one since September of this year. And they've already been in the top 10 3 times, including a win in Guadalajara, 2nd place in our 140 speed class last week here in Monterrey, also a 6th place in Guadalajara. Oof, that's not the way that they would have wanted this competition to go, though, unfortunately. Just now a little unsettled following that fence. Looks like he may have just raised a hand there. We'll just see what he decides to do. He may well reapproach that fence. Yeah, and so opts to retire. Just takes a fence on the way out and saves the horse for another day. It is a relatively new partnership, and so I'm sure we'll see them back in competition in the near future. We still just have 1 clear round then. That is Dara Kenny. And he's our only clear out of 24 competitors so far. So we're just a little bit past halfway through this first round of competition, and we're still looking for somebody to join Dara in the jump-off. We've seen the time be really quite influential. That was amended up from 74 to 75 seconds. But still, the time is proving influential. Following Dara Kenny in the lineup, we have Luis Alejandro Plasencia Onate, who is in 2nd place for Mexico, and then Jose Antonio Chedraui Eguia is in 3rd, again for Mexico. Well, once again, we have another Mexican competitor coming forward now, and also a competitor on the squad for Team Trailblazers. This is Patricio Pascal. This morning here, he rides Chakalu PS. It was a great addition to the Trailblazers, helping them to a 2nd place finish last week. They were 3rd this week. And his teammate Dara Kenny is the one with the clear round. So Patricio Pascal is looking to join his teammate in the jump-off. Chakalu is an 8-year-old stallion. And just a little bit of a stumble there, but One down so far for them. We do have to be a little bit careful of the time. They were 13th in the two-star Grand Prix last week. Just having one fence down there, but they also had a great 3rd place and a 5th place last week in the two-star classes as well. So very much a combination who have got the potential to do well here. Unfortunately, a few fences down for them so far. Well, the time is 76.25 seconds, and so Patricio Pascal concludes this two-star Grand Prix with 14 penalties in total. He'll go into 21st place, and still we just have the one clear. Looking like a relatively limited jump-off at the moment. However, we still have a little bit of a way to go, and we may well see our next competitor join Dara Kenny in the jump-off. She's another rider for the Trailblazers team, and she jumped very well, getting into the top 10 in the 5-star winning round competition earlier on this morning. She was also the winner of the 5-star Grand Prix last week, and she rides the very same horse in that competition this afternoon. It is the turn of Lily Keenan, and her ride here in this 2-star Grand Prix is Opium J.W. van der Muurhoven TN. Gets a very good pace down from the double at 4 down to the skinny fence at fence 5. This horse is an 8-year-old stallion owned by Chansonnet Farm, and this one is by Canan out of a Nabab Darev mare. Very good breeding on this horse. She jumped this horse in some of the 1-star young horse classes at Centaur Park a couple of months ago as well, for 2 top 10 finishes there. Nicely down the final line, and Lily Keenan does indeed join Dara Kenny in the jump-off. 74.61 was her time, just half a second slower than Dara Kenny. So they are the 2 competitors through to the jump-off so far. Ana Sofia Legoretta Hernandez comes next with Santa Rosa Vancouver SE. This horse is a 10-year-old Swedish-bred horse by Vivaldi K. Heading now to the final line, Ana Sofia Legarreta Hernandez, just working on the 4 penalties. So 1 fence down, she is inside the time allowed, and I think we're going to, yes, just add 4 as well for that final line. So it's 8 in total. She'll go into 18th place. Rodrigo Lambre comes next with Shalawino PS. Sadly, just has that multicoloured fence down there. It's got kind of bird boxes on either side. So many of these fences are so beautifully designed in this arena. Have a good few really making most of the Mexican influence here. Beautiful colours all around the course in the design. And I'm sure we'll see that made great use of in the 5-star Grand Prix as well. So Shalawino PS, then, this is a horse that Rodrigo's been riding since this summer. Jumped this horse in Europe a little bit. Opts to save the horse for another day here. They were actually 3rd in the 2-star Grand Prix at San Miguel as well. So very talented pair, very much capable of the top results. Birdie opts to retire here today. With a couple of fences down, he knows he won't be in the jump off, and he knows that there is no need to push this horse. There's plenty of talent there to save for another day. Let's have a short break in proceedings now while we wait for our next competitor. It's going to be Karim Perez Nunez with Camina K here now. Once again riding for Mexico. We're looking for a Mexican competitor to go through to the jump-off. That would be ideal. This is a long-term partnership. We've been jumping together for quite some time now. And we saw Karime compete this horse in San Miguel, here in Monterey last week, also in Ottawa, and at our Toronto leg as well, in the 2-star Grand Prix, as well as at Traverse City. Good 8th place in the 2-star Grand Prix at Traverse City back in August. Coming now nicely down at the final line. The time's looking good. 75 seconds is the goal. We're looking for our first Mexican competitor in the jump-off. And really nicely done. A brilliant, brilliant round from Karime Perez Nunez and Camina Kay. We have our third rider into the jump-off. Karime will join Dara Kenny and Lily Keenan. Well, we have two riders for the Trailblazers team through to the jump-off now, and we have another team Trailblazers rider coming forward next. This is Emma Marlowe, and she rides Marcus in this two-star Grand Prix. This horse is by Indoctro, out of a Clinton mare. Oh, how unlucky. Just clips the back rail coming out of the double. Perhaps just looking to be steadying for fence 5, and so just gets a little short there. The time's excellent, actually, for Emma Marlowe. Ah, no, excuse me. So we were just waiting for our clock to update there. So the time actually 75:24. I didn't think it looked quite as quick as it initially showed. So it's going to be one time penalty as well. 2 fences down gives Emma Marlowe 9 in total. She'll go on to 20th place for now. Manuel Senderos comes next with the horse Dinard. This one is owned by Patricio Pascal. This is a 10-year-old Hanoverian gelding by Diorado. Good through the double. Manuel also competed this horse in the 2-star Grand Prix at San Miguel. And Manuel took over the reins here on this horse in 2020. Patricio's ridden the horse in the past as well. Well, we'll just wait for confirmation of that score for Manuel Senderos and Dinard. Our timer just needs to update here, but we'll confirm that for you as soon as we have it. So it's going to be one fence down and two fences down and a little over the time allowed. So it's going to be 11 in total for Manuel Senderos and Dinard. 22nd place for now for them. On now to another Mexican competitor. This is Luis Gerardo Castañeda Mercado with Untakeable. This combination were 8th in the two-star Grand Prix in San Miguel, just having one time penalty there. Also had a good win in a two-star Grand Prix at San Miguel in May. Well, great clear jumping and very good time as well. Luis Gerardo Castañeda Mercado joins Dara Kenny, Lily Keenan and Karime Perez Nunez in the jump off. Clear in a time of 74.06. Mimi Goshman comes now again with Halita BH. Of course, we saw Mimi in the 5-star winning round competition earlier on today. And we now have 4 through to the jump off. We are looking for a 5th. Mimi was 6th with this horse in the 2-star Grand Prix last week. Just had one fence down, but a fast 4 got her a really good 6th place. This is a horse that's a relatively recent partner for her. She's been riding this horse only in Monterey, in fact, in our competitions last week, culminating in that 6th place in the 2-star Grand Prix. The horse was formerly with Petronella Anderson, who's jumped this horse in various 5-star Grand Prix and Nations Cup competitions as well. The horse has jumped in the 5-star Grand Prix at Stockholm, in Rome, and the Rolex Grand Prix of La Baule as well. Great for Mimi as a young rider to have the opportunity to ride this experienced horse. Piloting this horse very nicely around this course so far. One fence left. Time's looking okay. Yeah, great for times. 71.47. In fact, that's our fastest clear round so far. So Mimi Goshman makes it 5 into the jump off so far. 33 combinations have gone and 5 through to the jump off. So we're about just a bit under 1 in 6 through to the jump off. Juan Carlos Martin del Campo comes next with La Costa, an 11-year-old horse that he owns himself, an 11-year-old gelding, which has Cornet Obolensky breeding down at the dam side. They were 11th in the two-star Grand Prix last week, just one fence down, keeping them out of the jump-off. They also jumped in some of the five-star classes at San Miguel. And then earlier on in October, they won at the two-star Grand Prix in Guadalajara. Also came second in the two-star Grand Prix at Monterrey here in May. So some very, very good results on their record. Certainly a combination that you might have on your list as ones to go through to the jump-off. Well, he's going to be a little over the time allowed, but it was a really nice round and a time of 76.05. Just 2 time penalties to add for Juan Carlos Martin del Campo. He goes into 7th place for now. Keeps him out of the jump-off, but still a very good result. Eduardo Pereira de Menezes comes next with H5 Macentus PS. This horse is a 9-year-old by Messenger, as the name might suggest. Owned by the H5 Sport Horses. It's a German-bred horse. And Eduardo has been very busy here in Monterrey and very busy in the last few weeks as well, jumping in the World Cup shows around Europe. Eight will be the score then for Eduardo Pereira de Menezes. It's a quick time as well, 70.63 seconds. Just those 2 fences down. We have another rider for Argentina in the ring now then. This is Bruno Passaro with Abril Hope Girl. This combination had 2 fences down in the Grand Prix, the 2-star Grand Prix here last week, but had a really good second place in the 2-star Grand Prix in San Miguel with a great double clear. The CP Oxa hasn't been too influential yet in this class, but here just catches out Bruno Passaro. Two down in total. He's inside the time allowed though, but it will be 8 for Bruno Passaro and Abril Hope Girl. Nicolas Pizarro comes next. He is a rider on the Crusaders team and here represents Mexico in this 2-star Grand Prix. His horse is Lord of London. This horse is just 8 years old. There's a German-bred gelding by London Glocks. This year he's been competing this horse in some 2- and 3-star competitions, most recently in Calgary. The horse has had a few months off before coming here to Monterey. Just inside the time allowed then, but a couple of fences down. 8 for Nicolas Pizarro and Lord of London. 24th place for them for now. We have 8 combinations still to come. And remember, we have 5 in the jump-off for now. Those 5 through to the second round are Dara Kenny, Linny Keenan, Karime Perez Nunez, Luis Gerardo Castañeda Mercado and Mimi Goshman. Carlos Hank Guerrero will be the next rider trying to join them. He rides H5 Porthos Maestro WHZ. Had a very good result in a 3-star jump-off class at Nokohepik in June, placing 2nd there. Didn't compete this horse last week. Now down this final line, the time's looking good as well for Carlos. Very nicely down to the final fence as well. 71.89. He is our 6th competitor through to the jump-off. Beautifully done. Fabian Serranes comes next then for Argentina with Kerfoli de l'Extas. It's a 10-year-old French-bred horse by Baloubet de Rouet, out of a mare by Le Tot de Semy. He represents Argentina here in this competition. This is also a horse that Fabian hasn't competed too extensively. He's competed the horse at San Miguel, at Puebla and Monterrey in the two-star competitions. In Mexico City, the horse was competed by Jose Antonio Flores Palestino. Then a little while ago, back in 2020 and 2019, the horse was competed by Romain Dreyfus of France. It's one down so far. He's just got a couple of fences left to go. Carefully over the plank. And carefully down over the final fence as well. He will add time penalties, 5 of those to add, in fact. So his total will be 9 in the end. Well, on to another competitor for Mexico then. Now we have a few of those left. This is Lorenza Mena Rodriguez with Crystal Utopia Z. Well, it's going to be 16 in total for Lorenza Mena Rodriguez and Crystal Utopia Z. 35th place for them. Just 5 combinations yet to come. back then with another Mexican competitor. This is Valeria de Leon Gonzalez with Lirenko Vante Kieveld. This horse is an 11-year-old mare and one that Valeria has been riding since earlier this year. She's just competed the horse in Monterey, in fact. Had a great 6th place back in April in a 2-star 135 class. This horse was previously with Samuel Locoche of France, and before that with Victor Kumps of Belgium. And it's a great time, 69.14, but unfortunately one pole clipped will give Valeria just 4 penalties. 12th place for her. Great result though. That's actually our fastest 4 now, beating the time of Paul O'Shea. So she is our fastest 4 falter. Interestingly, we have 5 riders who are just carrying time penalties, and then the 6 clears. Caitlin Campbell just eyes up some of these fences then with Feon. Feon being this 12-year-old Dutch-bred gelding by Zazu R. This combination also jumped in the 2-star Grand Prix last week. Had a few fences down and a little bit of time as well to add, so finished 27th last time out. They did do well in a 5-star speed class at our Toronto leg at Angelstone Tournaments, coming 5th there. He also finished 8th in the 2-star 1m45 class last week. She also had a very good 2nd place with this horse at Thermal in the 5-star speed class as well at the back end of last year. Of course, that would be where Major League Show Jumping travels to after this leg, after Monterey. We're having 2 weeks back-to-back in California for our 9th and 10th legs. She's very good coming down this final line. The plank is safely up and sails over the last... Oh, and she is just inside the time allowed as well. Nothing to add then, and Caitlin Campbell will be the 7th competitor heading through to the jump-off. Well, from one team competitor, Caitlin Campbell, of course, on the Roadrunner squad, now to a rider who's on the Show Plus Northern Lights team. This is Vanessa Mannix, and she rides Katinka 25. Again, this combination jumped in the two-star Grand Prix last week. They just had one fence down and placed 8th. They also were 10th in the two-star speed class. She also jumped this horse in the 5 stars in San Miguel and Traverse City and Ottawa as well. She was on the 5th placed team for the Northern Lights in Traverse City with Katinka, and was 8th in the 5-star two-phase competition there as well. She was also 10th in the 5-star winning round class in Ottawa, so very much a combination who've been pretty consistent over the years so far, jumping well in the 5 stars and now just dropping back to the 2 stars at these 2 Mexican legs. She's still got all the fences up. She's just got to watch the clock. Yeah, she's just inside that time allowed. Really nicely keeping all of the fences up. Keeps a clean sheet. She's inside the time. 74.85 is the time. So Vanessa Mannix is our 8th rider through to the jump off with just 2 left to come. Our penultimate competitor then is Leobardo Arturo Flores Leal with Harley VD Bishop. Had 1 fence down already. This horse, of course, is one that went to the World Championships in the summer with Fabian Sejanez. Also went to the World Cup final in Omaha in 2017 with Nicola Philipparts, and the Nations Cup final in 2018 with Nicola Philipparts as well, but now being partnered by Leobardo around this 2-star Grand Prix. The horse is a 15-year-old now. Leobardo rode this horse to a 3rd place in a 2-star competition at San Miguel. Unfortunately, they won't be in our jump-off today, but just dropping 1 pole and coming home inside the time as well. So it's 4 to add. He'll go into 16th place in this competition, and we just have 1 combination still to come. Had a great turnout in this competition, 45 combinations coming forward, and the best 8 so far will be coming back for a jump-off. We'll just see if our final rider will join them. Last rider on our list is Jacqueline Cristel Lopez Castro. Just taking a little bit of a pause while we just wait for our final competitor. But in any case, while we just wait to see if our final competitor will be coming forward, I'll just recap for you the 8 combinations coming through to the jump off. We'll have Dara Kenny with Sangris Boy, Lily Keenan with Opium JW van der Merhove TN, Karime Perez Nunez with Camina K, Luis Gerardo Castañeda Mercado with Untakeable, Mimi Goshman with Halita BH, Carlos Hank Guerrero with H5 Porthos Maestro WHZ, Caitlin Campbell with Feon, and Vanessa Mannix with Katinka 25. Our final competitor now just heads into the ring then. This is Jacqueline Cristel Lopez Castro. And as I say, her ride is Hard Rock. Quite a long-term partnership that this pair have built up. And she also jumped in a couple of our 2-star competitions last week, jumping a nice clear in the 1 meter 42-star competition earlier on last week. She also came 7th in a 2-star jump-off class at Guadalajara in September. Good result for them there. And she's also had some good results at Spruce Meadows, 2 top 10 finishes. And then prior to that, back in April, had a win in a 2-star jump-off class in Mexico City. She's our final competitor in, and we have 8 in the jump-off so far. Jacqueline Cristel Lopez Castro is looking to join them. Gets a little bit close into the double and unfortunately then couldn't quite make it to the B element. Well sat there to hang on to Hard Rock. Fence is just going to be rebuilt. I think she might then reapproach that combination. Oh, nicely through the double the second time, just despite clipping the back rail, and the hand goes up, so Jacqueline Cristel Lopez Castro is going to opt to retire. 8 through to the jump off then. We'll be taking a short break now while the arena party just prepare the ring for that jump off. And I hope that you will stay with us for that. Join us again in a few moments' time when we come back with this jump off. Well, welcome back everybody to this two-star Grand Prix. We now bring you the jump off. And we have 8 combinations coming forward here. 8 combinations jumping clear. They are Dara Kenny with Sangris Boy, Lily Keenan with Opian JW van der Merhove TN, and she will be followed by Karime Perez Nunez, Luis Gerardo Castañeda Mercado, Mimi Goshman, Carlos Hank Guerrero, Caitlin Campbell and Vanessa Mannix. Dara Kenny, though, was our first clear of the morning, and so he'll come forward first in this jump-off. Of course, we have a shortened course here for this competition. That shortened course will be over fences 9, 10 and 11. And then a quick turn back here to fences 2 and 3. Carefully over the Cabana Coast, upright at 2. Now a quick swing back to 3, and now a bit of a run down to the double at 4A and B from the first round. And then it's going to be 6C, go through the middle of the arena to that yellow and white fence. Keeps all the fences up, so it's a really nice double clear for this horse that just gets better and better under Dara Kenny. Goes very consistently and he keeps all the fences up. The time is 37.3. Made some very good tight turns there. And certainly a very exciting prospect for future competitions for that combination. Lily Keenan comes next. Her ride is Opium JW van der Merhove TN. She is, of course, Dara Kenny's teammate on the Trailblazers, and both of those riders helped the team to another podium finish last night, a 3rd place and 2nd place last week. Lily also rides for the USA, and she is one of 3 American competitors that we have in this jump-off. Time that Dara Kenny has laid down to beat is 37.3. Quickly across the middle of the arena here. Just a little bit steadier down to fence 2. A little bit steadier on her turn back here as well. And good down to that final fence as well. So again, it's a really nice double clear for Lily with the 0.5 on the clock. She's a few seconds adrift, but again, what a prospect for the future, Lily Keenan, with this 8-year-old for the Chansonnette Farm LLC. 2 double clears in total. So 37.21, she punches the air, and it's going to be a leading time for Mimi Goshman. 0.09 of a second is what it's taken to put her into the lead. Very impressively done from that young lady. Three riders still to come, and Mimi Goshman is our new leader. Dara Kenny sits in 2nd, Lily Keenan sits in 3rd. We're just taking a little look around some of his turns. Here is Carlos Hank Guerrero with H5, Porthos Maestro WHZ. Time to beat now is 37.21. He's quickly away from the CP Oxa. Stands off fence 10 a little bit and unfortunately comes down on the back rail. Carefully to that. Well, what a competition this has been. It's been a fantastic morning of sport with the 5-star winning round competition. Now the 2-star Grand Prix just coming to a close. But here's the top 10 for you. We have, as I say, Mimi Goshman taking the win. Dara Kenny takes second for Ireland. Caitlin Campbell, another rider for the USA, takes third. Vanessa Mannix in fourth. Lily Keenan in fifth. Places 6 through to 10 then are taken by Mexican riders Carlos Hank Guerrero, Luis Gerardo Castañeda, Karime Perez Nunez, Luis Alejandro Plasencia, and Juan Carlos Martin del Campo. Rounds out the top 10. The arena is now going to just be prepared for the presentation. Top 3 will be coming forward for that prize giving. And then the arena will be prepared for the 5-star Grand Prix, the feature of the day's sport. But what a day it has been already. Mimi Goshman, a really great result for her, one of the biggest wins of her career so far, but fantastic prospect for the future. Mimi and this horse, Halita BH. The 5-star Grand Prix will be kicking off at about 2:30 local time, so in about an hour and a quarter. So do stay with us for that. And that will be our feature class of the day and the final class of the day. As I say, we'll bring you the prize giving in just a couple of moments' time, but it's been a real pleasure to take you through this 2-star Grand Prix. I hope that you have enjoyed that, and I hope that you'll join us again for the 5-star Grand Prix in just over an hour's time.
We have a new leader right now. We have a new leader right now. We have a new